The president has always appeared to lack an empathetic gene. It doesn't come naturally to him on some of these things. At other times, he can come across extraordinarily empathetic, right? He's very moved by television images. And it actually, if he is looking, if he really wants, and this is free advice because I think this is just a good idea for the United States of America. But if he really wants to turn the page in this story, then go and move the United States government to lead the world in essentially saying, Israel, step aside. We are going to come in. The cavalry is coming. The United States military is coming. The American Red Cross is coming. And step aside. And if Hamas does anything to threaten the ability of the United States government to feed hungry Palestinians, they're going to be met. They're going to be met with a very tough response. Obviously, you know what that is. But the point is that at this point, I think you want to talk about a moment that would make critics say, well, good for him. That would probably unite most of the Western world who are extraordinarily uncomfortable watching what's going on right now. Longtime supporters of Israel, not liking how Bibi Netanyahu is using his own political necessities for survival as a way to punish Palestinians. And the opportunity here, and again, to be totally cynical about it, you want to bury your Epstein story, send in the cavalry to go feed Palestinians in Gaza and do it now. Who's going to push back at the U.S. government if it comes in mightily, right? It is, if you care about the future of Israel, this is what you'd be doing, Mr. President. If you cared about the future of American exceptionalism, and maybe he doesn't care about that, but I think it matters a lot if you want to be a righteous superpower. You do this move. So he could, for totally cynical PR reasons, it would help him. It would unite the world in a positive way. Yes, it would put Bibi in a corner, but perhaps he needs to be put in a corner right now. Look, he is not popular in his own country, right? He's sort of this necessity that many Israelis view with him. It's sort of like, kind of like the Jack Nicholson character in A Few Good Men. That Israelis sort of view him as, well, we'll put him on this wall for now. And that's what we're going to do. But this would be the type of big gesture. This sort of fits. Trump wants to be seen. He wants this Nobel Peace Prize. This is an interesting step that would actually perhaps get him applause in corners he doesn't normally get. And we know he cares about that stuff. He's moved by the pictures. So as much as he lacks all of this empathy in the Epstein case, he has shown some empathy for what he has seen in the pictures he has seen. He certainly doesn't want to be associated not helping starving children. This is I think it would be a morale boost for a lot of Americans, left and right, a rare unifying moment for the world and a rare unifying moment for the country. And I think there's plenty of pro-Israel supporters. Nobody's going to criticize them for wanting to go in there and just say, look, Israel's not handling this. Hamas is not. Forget it. Get the UN out of the way. Get everybody out of the way. Here comes the cavalry. And it would, am I feeding into Trump's ego on this one? You're gosh darn right. Because sometimes and this gets into another story I want to get to in a minute, which is, how do you maneuver in the Trump era if you are uncomfortable with the character, literally the character and the morals of the person in the White House? Do you never work with them at all because you believe they're immoral and have low character, right? Or do you do what you can to get things done? I'm somebody who views that civilization invented the idea of politics so we could settle disputes without violence. All right. Politics wasn't meant to be, I'm right, you're wrong. Right? Political decisions were meant to be sort of uncomfortable, at times, compromises. you sort of incrementally get to a place where not everybody is unhappy, where you can have people leave in peace, if you will, right? That is what politics at its best is supposed to do, which is why you shouldn't expect an outcome to be 100% of what you want. If you're getting 100% of what you want, you're probably living you're probably on one side of an authoritarian regime, to be frank, at a lot of times. All of these maneuvers should be, sort of incremental and motivated and inspired by compromise. And so this is one of those moments where I think there's an opportunity. I think that there are plenty of people in the MAGA base that are uncomfortable with what they're seeing. There's certainly plenty of people in the center that are uncomfortable with what they're seeing. I mean, you see it in the polling. We're down to 30% supporting what Israel is doing at this point. So it is a very uncomfortable, and whatever our numbers are, remember, we're arguably the most pro-Israel Western country there is as far as the population is concerned, which means everywhere else. So what's in the best interest of Israel? Solving this problem. And if they can't do it, as Israel's chief protector, the United States government should just shove aside the UN, which never seems to be able to get anything done over there. Dare Hamas to attack the United States military. Trust me, they won't. You'll have the Gulf states helping to pay for this, for gosh sakes, and send in the cavalry. If you're looking for a cheap political boost, Mr. President, this might be the easiest one to do, and one where you'd have a hard time finding many critics. The one person you may tick off is Bibi Netanyahu. And I don't know how many people feel comfortable sidling up to him right now as a political ally, no matter how pro-Israel you are, because he's made it awfully difficult to defend the actions of this Israeli government. And as I've pointed out, you can be pro-Israel and you can be critical of Bibi. It's just like here in America. I assume everybody listening to this podcast that's an American citizen loves this country, but doesn't always love the government. And that's what being an American sometimes is all about. Well, it's the same mindset for American Jews, for Israelis, you name it, when it comes to Israel. So that would be one way to solve his PR nightmare of Epstein, since clearly he's petrified of the truth. I've told you earlier, I think if he would, he has made any sort of evidence that Trump was friendly with Epstein newsworthy, because he's tried so hard to deny connections and sort of deny further involvement with him. And then when he does confirm it, he does it callously. He does it in this, he was poaching my employees. So he clearly is not thinking straight on this. And if your job in the White House is to try to what's in the president's best interest is to change the subject. What's in America's best interest might be to go solve this Gaza humanitarian crisis right now and send in the cavalry, shove Bibi aside for the time being, dare Hamas, and feed these hungry Palestinians. Go ahead and embrace playing hero ball, whatever you want to call it. But it's the right thing to do, and it might actually benefit him short-term politically.